All right, welcome to the final week of Jedi history. May the internet be with you, as I like to call it. For this class, we're going to be talking about one of the last websites, really, that had a major impact on the totality of the community, right? And that was Capital Jedi, Jedi.org, however you were used to saying it or seeing it. So we're going to look at this, but I want to kind of go backwards just real quick. We're going to look at some websites. If you were with us last week, this is going to look familiar to you, okay? But we're just going to go through this real quick. It's not going to be anything like we did last week. But really quick, we're going to... oh, that's not the one. Hang on. We're going to get there in a second. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to present this over here, jumping around, keeping it exciting. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to spin this monkey and get it back around where we need it to be. Bam, there we need it to be. This is the beginning. If you want to know the history of Jedi, Capital Jedi, you got to know the history of Serene and Relum Volcom. They are the ones that created the place. So they really came together here. This is where the three major people who started the organization came together. The Jedi Council. Serene was running Jedi Alliance 2. Mithra was running Jedi Alliance. They merged. They formed the Jedi Council. Relin came in. He's like, hey guys, love what you're doing. Got some ideas. They all vibed together, and they went on to create the Jedi Creed. And the Jedi Creed. So they created the Jedi Creed, and it was a hit, and it was awesome, and it was fun, and it had this really interesting mix where it had a safe haven for role players, but also very clear areas to explore practical and applicable Jedi philosophy. And they got to explore other ideas such as Jedi Unity, because back in 1999, there were not a lot of Jedi sites. There were not a lot of Jedi groups. There were basically 5 Jedi groups at the time, give or take. There were some websites, but they weren't groups, right? Because you couldn't engage. You couldn't communicate. So they weren't groups. There was other websites, but there were 5 Jedi groups in 1999. Jedi Creed was one of them. Force Academy was one of them. Jedi Academy was one of them. Those were the big 3. Then you had Jedi Temple, also known as Temple of the Jedi. And then you had Jedi of the New Millennium. And so Relin and Serene went around, mainly Relin. It was really Relin's dream to kind of unite all the Jedi under one roof. The other groups were not having it. No one really liked that idea. But some individual Jedi did. About time I left the Force Academy and was searching and kind of mingling with the entirety of the Jedi community, Relin saw a couple of my posts and invited me to take part in his new project in conjunction with Jedi United, which was called Dega. Again, all capitals, D-E-G-A, Dega. And that helped push and create the Jedi organization, which, again, all these links should be in the description. If not, they'll be there later. Or you can just follow around now. And that, boom, Jedi organization, yay! All right, here's where Jedi, Capital Jedi, really comes into play. Capital Jedi comes into play here because you still see unity, you see this idea of bringing it together. Brought to you by the creators of the Jedi Creed, yay! So in about 2001, mid-2001, the Jedi organization was created, and this is the beautiful thing that came out of it. However, in September 2001, well, let's backtrack a little backstory, and I won't play the complete villain here. A little backstory. So, as the Jedi organization was created out of the Jedi United, out of Dega, and out of kind of the Jedi Creed, there was, and we can stop that. You can look at me now. So what happened with Jedi organization was when it first was created, it was created out of these kind of people who came together to help form the Jedi United, who liked the idea that unity is the key, as Rellen's motto went. And so in order to set up a proper structure, we decided, hey, we need a Jedi Council to run the Jedi organization. So it was supposed to be 12 members, with one of them serving as the council chair, or the leader. This was pretty much, everybody figured would just go to Rellen, because this was really Rellen. He really pushed for this, and he really put in the time and effort. And the websites you see and you're going to see, at least a little bit, and I'll explain on that later. But he made those. Like Serene and Rellen, they were great at website development and website building. They knew code, and they're really good at it, and they really developed some really interactive and good websites, Jedi Organization being one of them. So it was pretty much a given that he was going to be this council or head chair. So the voting was, fair. You had your nomination, your second nomination, and then those were eligible members to be voted on, right? So everybody who belonged to the Jedi Organization could nominate one person and could second a person, right? So I could nominate Jedi Master Angelus, and then I can see, oh, someone else nominated Rellen. Well, I'm going to second Rellen. Okay. And then so out of this big group of people, you had then were put into just the voting thing, and then you could vote for the total of, I think it was 6. I think you got 6 votes. So you were allowed to vote for then the 6 people who had received the second nomination. And then the majority votes, whoever got the majority votes out of there, the first 12 to get all the, to get the most votes, they were going to be the council. And then the one person who had the most votes out of everybody would be the head chair, which was designed to be a show of faith and a show of character, meaning Jedi saying, no, this person can run things, right? The more Jedi you had backing you wasn't considered at the time a popularity contest. It was considered, okay, who do we feel has the most confidence, and who do we have the most confidence in to lead this organization? That was the simple idea behind it. Unfortunately, politics are politics, no matter what group you're in, and it kind of did turn into a popularity contest throughout the years. I don't think we've actually solved that one yet without changing the actual voting procedures. But anyway, so what happened was Rellen actually came in second. He wasn't the chair. I was nominated as the chair for the Jedi organization, and so I immediately jumped. I was like, what? Blown away, right? Because at the time, 2001, I still held Rellen, Serene, and like everybody who was, especially like all the people who were on the Jedi Council, like that got nominated and voted in. I was like I was blown away to be like not only a part of them, but to be considered able to like appear, right? I still had I still put them up on pedestals. And what happened was that I was unprepared for politics and for we were all kids back then, and we all kind of had our own ideas how to run things. But what happened was basically some people weren't happy with how the elections turned out, and a lot of politicking started going on, people not working on projects they were supposed to, pouting, other people sabotaging relationships. You start having backbiting and people sabotaging even projects, and so things weren't getting done. And this all came to a head in September of 2001. And in September 2001, we had this kind of chat on what to do, where to go, what direction we wanted to go as Jedi. And there was this, and what we discovered is there was this big split on where we wanted our focus to be and what we wanted to do. Unbeknownst to a lot of us, Rellen already had ideas on how he wanted to grow the Jedi organization, but he wasn't sharing those. He was developing them in his own little inner circle and just kind of working it out. And so when this kind of exploded, I went and I ended up deleting the Jedi organization as well as the Jedi United. Deleting in a sense that they were gold boards and had backups. So there's reasons. I had my reasons. I had my backup plans. But what's done is done, and what ended up happening was all that information got deleted, and Relin, and then me and a group of other people went with to resurrect the Jedi United and to go back into that direction. Well, Relin and the people he had been working with decided to then take the Jedi organization in the direction he had desired, and with the graphics and the outlook and the layout and really push it forward with these ideas that he had in mind. And so that's what happened. And in that, so you had the Jedi United version 2 that was created, and then you had Jedi, capital Jedi that was created. And so you had this really bad event, and then two really good things kind of came out of it. And people, it's one of those things, right? When things are at their worst, people tend to be at their best. And it was one of those moments. Not everybody, went through it a-okay, right? There's obviously problems. There's obviously situations there. But Jedi grew out of it and actually turned into this really big hub where everybody from the Jedi, even the isolationists from like Jedi Academy and Jedi Mythos and those things, still knew and still came and still kept an eye on, even if they just lurked, right? Even if they were just visiting, they came to Jedi to check out and see what was going on, because there was always something going on. There was always definitely new projects and new ideas and something always being worked on. So Relin, with the people that really liked the original idea, started working with them, and they immediately made a Jedi Academy. That original Jedi Academy ended up getting switched. I might not have it. Okay, so, oh wait, I do have it. Excellent. Okay, so let me show you that. Boom, boom. Okay, the Jedi Realist Academy is actually born out of the very first Jedi Academy. Again, capital Jedi. Let's just assume when I say Jedi, I'm talking about capital Jedi, since that's the whole episode here. All right, so capital Jedi had their first academy, but they had clashing ideals and structures on how they wanted to run it, with Relin and his council kind of had an idea how they wanted the academy run and the subjects that they wanted to cover and things of that nature. And the people who ran the Jedi Academy at the time ended up disagreeing. And so the Jedi Realist Academy was created out of that. And I think, let's see. Oh no, that's just ranks. Where are the people? Oh, faculty's not working. Well, there you go. But you can, I'll put the link up later for this one if you want to go through it, and you can kind of go through. There it is. So you had Lunar Rising, Spark Valen, Jade Tigress, Great White Shark really put a lot of work into it. He really kept it going for a long time. Him and Lunar Rising really made this site and academy what it is. You can kind of go through it. I think this is the web archive version. Yeah, this is the Wayback Machine of the forum that you can check out. You can't really get into a lot of the topics or a lot of the forums. It's just EasyBoard and Wayback Machine aren't really compatible. That's why we lost a lot of things, not to mention EasyBoard's own issues. But that's a history lesson for another time. You can come hunt me down for that. Butch Jacks, familiar name. I believe she's in the audience right now. Was also, part of this, and she actually became a very integral part of what would take over. So the Jedi Realist Academy went on their own, right? They did their own thing. And then Jedi Academy, we'll stop, sure. And then Jedi Academy would end up creating its another academy and would build a new academy out of that. And you can check that one out. All I have right now is pictures, not things you can explore. The reason for that is because I've changed domain names, and the working versions aren't up yet, but they will be in time, and you can hunt me down and find those. So we'll take a quick look at that before we get into some. Actually, where is it? There it is. Okay. Boom. Share that. Okay, so this was kind of one of the academies. This is EasyBoard. That was into the website, right? It's framed in. So, and you can't see all the way to the bottom. I don't have all of it, but it goes all the way down with all the classes, you know, and it had solo training. Solo training was kind of just a way that you didn't go through the particular courses, right? The courses were set, and they were set into semesters and things you could do that way. But what happened is they also offered solo training, which was just information to help you go through it, right? If you weren't a part of enrolled at the time, maybe you missed the enrollment date, you could go to the solo training, and it was just a forum with plenty of information and little exercises you can do, and there was always someone who kind of ran it and kept an eye on the students who were partaking in that. At first, it was Jedi Walker or Reclaw, the person who created Jedi of the New Millennium, if you remember that episode. They ran it first. When he stepped down, I was asked to run it for a bit, and then it went to Butch Jacks, and then she would later become, I think, principal. She can correct me on that if that's not the case, but would later become on to run this. And if I'm not mistaken, when Jedi kind of went the way of the Jedi and kind of disappeared, she took that template and that format and ended up with the other people who were running the Jedi Academy at the time, kind of took that and created the Institute of Jedi Realist Studies, I do believe. Again, I believe she's here, so she can correct me. But this was just an academy you could, you know, which was very thorough. Again, I don't have the picture to show like how many forums were actually there. There was a lot of forums that you went through. Force, the Self, Jedi Code, Ethics, Warrior Ethos, just like a whole bunch of different subjects that you really got in, and each subject had its own. In fact, actually, we can take. Actually, I'm a little over. Well, we can look at it real quick, anyways. So what I'm going to do is I'll share that. We'll look briefly at the Academy's library lecture page, and it will give you a kind of a brief idea of what it is. And boom. So here we see, and again, you can't see all of it, right? But you can see kind of this kind of introduction, right, of Health 1, Creed 1, Creed 2, you know, Force 1, Adept 1, 2, right? All these things, all these topics, and they all have multiple lectures. Again, these are all saved. The original site was held by Relin, and that's gone now. Technically not gone. They still exist on the server, but they all just redirect to his new projects now. So this stuff is not accessible as of yet, but I'm getting it back into working order. As I said, I had it on the other domain, so this stuff is all safe. Don't think this is lost to time or anything like that. These are screenshots of my saved files. So you will be able to look through it and get through it. Again, if you want the links, you know, hunt me down. I'll get them to you. But this is just a way to show you just how much training and how much material was being given out at any given time at the Jedi Academy. You might recognize some names of people who have been around and have been a part of these videos themselves. Okay, so before we go further and kind of talk about how Jedi impacted and kind of, because this is about 2002, right? This is well, this is actually a little bit later that we're looking at now, but where we got up to is about 2002. Jedi comes in, it's a big hit, and it starts to explode on the scene. And this is where, like, actually a lot of our, what people consider old-time members kind of came into. This is where they started, and this is not just started, but really got involved, like really dug in and really learned administration, teaching, responsibility, and web hosting and design and class structure and all this stuff. Like, they really started getting into the meat of the path. Was about 2002, 2003. As I said, that kind of grew out of that whole debacle of the original Jedi organization. So before we continue on, get to some questions on that in the people. So we can stop sharing that. If you have a question and you're watching on your laptop, right? If you're on like YouTube or something, you should be able to slide to, I think it's the left side of your screen, and a little toolbar should come out, and you should see a little Q&A, like a little Q&A thing, right? If you have any questions at any time, you can write out your question in there, and it'll be used, and you can use that, right? But if you don't have it, or you're working on it, and you don't want to do your questions real quick, that's fine. There is some... okay, so there's some time. Here's the thing. If you're with us, because we have a lot of people with us on webcam, obviously none of you watching can see that. If you have a question, or you just want to share like a Jedi story real quick, how you got there, whatever, you can go ahead, type in the chat box, tell me yeah, and I'll present you. Basically, then you'll be able to use your microphone, and everybody else will be able to hear you. And if you have video going, they'll be able to see you as well. If you don't want to do that, you can, as I said, use the Q&A app, or you can type it here. All right, we got a hand raised over here. We are going to show and broadcast, and you might have to unmute yourself, Jackie. Okay, and if you have a question, or go ahead. What do you have?
All right. Apparently, it's really dark. Can everyone? Or can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So I just wanted to fill in a couple things. First, regarding Jedi Realist Academy, that kind of died a slow death because Luna disappeared, and Shark kind of disappeared after a while, and I was trying to run it without full like admin rights, which was fun. And then Luna came back, and it just got weird. And so that's when I returned to Jedi, and the Jedi Academy there. And I don't think I was principal when I was there. I think we had Inari doing that. But either way, the core group of who was there kind of when things collapsed at Jedi, yes, we all went and just formed, I think we were just like the Jedi Academy or something at that point until we had a server issue and they deleted our website. So then we changed names and website addresses and all that stuff, and that's when we became the Institute for Jedi Realistic Studies. So yeah, it was very much a group effort, and it remains a group effort to this day. I'm just the one that, bugs people to remember to do what they're supposed to do. So
well.
That's important. So
It is.
But it did initially start with whatever material we had at the time, and it's just over the years we've grown and learned more and expanded on what we make available. So it's really cool that you have the old documentation up, since that kind of got lost partially between the EasyBoard crash of whatever year that was and then the other website crashes. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Pretty awesome that it exists, because unfortunately EasyBoard was the best thing for chat and everything, but they weren't secure and they went kaput.
Yeah, it's very true. Lost a lot of stuff through their
Oh yeah.
various issues. So did you
Yeah.
have a question, or was that just so you could help share the history?
Yeah, it was more about filling in some of the gaps.
Sweet thing. Sweet thing.
So, if there's any questions and stuff, you can always just ping me again. I'll be chilling here with the baby.
Excellent, excellent. All right. Okay, so before if any of you guys on video have a question, go ahead, type in yo me, and I'll get to you. In the meantime, we do have a question from Cayenne, California Jedi, and so we're going to select this monkey right here. And is this where the course system started? I see a lot of Adept 1, Creed 1. It's not. I wouldn't say it's where coursework started. It is for some people. It maybe in that format. Maybe in that format it probably was, because you are talking 2002 that this was kind of being fleshed out and put together. And yeah, nothing in that particular style. I hesitate because Jedi Temple, in 2000, had a very structured syllabus and a very structured course, but it wasn't broken up into this same system of Adept 1 or Creed 1. It's similar and different. So there was courses, right? There was an academy style at other places, very, very, very few places, but the academy style did exist. For this particular kind of mimicking coursework style and kind of college style, then yes, the way that they had the layout, it was technically the first, with the setup that Luna Rising and Great White Shark and them put together. They kind of started that, and then when Anari and others took over, they continued that and continued to push that particular style, and enrollment dates and things like that. So they tried to make it as academic as possible. But they certainly, I can't say they were the first ones with an academy style program or a course style program, but definitely in that format, they were. That format is probably theirs in regards to the Jedi community itself. Okay, so I'm going to check right back over here and see. Hannigan asks, did anyone get banned from Jedi more than me? Depends. Well, no. I guess that's all Jedi organization stuff that really went down sideways. No, not a lot of people got banned at the site. Really, Jedi had a pretty clear policy, and they're pretty lenient actually. The people at Jedi were actually pretty lenient when it came to that kind of stuff. Banning wasn't the first go-to thing, right? That's not how they didn't really like censorship. They didn't even like deleting posts. It's kind of where I developed my own distaste for deleting posts and editing posts without the author's consent and banning people just because problems arising. I find most mature Jedi sites and organizations and mature administrators don't go that route, and they're not the first ones. And Jedi, especially at the time, was way more mature in how they handled situations like that. So no one got banned more than you, but you were always just looking for it. So, I mean, what are you going to do? When someone has like their sight set on getting banned, yeah, they're going to be the most banned person in the community. So congratulations, you hold that record probably at all sites. You might want to stop being proud about it, but that's just the suggestion, Hannigan. That's just the suggestion, buddy. Question. Okay. So I'm gonna put you on, Alexander, if that's okay, since you say you got a question. Oh, and Gabriel. All right. So Angelus is first. So Angelus, let's see where you at, buddy. There you are. There you are. So we're gonna show you. You'll probably have to unmute yourself. But you should be good to go.
All right, so yes, I also wanted to speak a little bit to Cayenne's question about the academy style or the lecture style, and we actually had, as I also served as principal for Jedi Academy along with Inari and Jax, and we actually kind of rotated that position. But speaking to the academy style, that was just one method out of several. Because we also did the solo method and the praxium method where people could study at other locations and come back and take an equivalency exam to basically show where they went. So the academy, I would say the academy style, the lecture style was the most prevalent and the most dominant one that was used, but other ones were available. And to this day, I still see a lot of the forums using sort of that academy style. However, now that people are moving offline, I think there is more of the physical learning style, the actual hand-eye or personal experience, I mean, that people are using, and which now the Institute for Jedi Realist Studies is actually encouraging with their integrative practice. Because it's one thing to learn about a Jedi or learn how to be Jedi, but then it's another to actually be Jedi.
Indeed, indeed. Good point. Good point. Was the few styles the styles? Is that what you wanted to comment on? Oh yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. There we go. All right. And Krista. No, we have Alexander. Alexander, where are you at, man? Benjamin. All right. Hey. All right, Alexander. I am going to bring you up. And you can unmute yourself, and if you have, your 2 cents, questions, anything, go ahead. Oh, wait. Oh, right. Okay. Never mind. Okay. Got to catch up to the text. Okay. All right. Never mind, Alexander. Fine. No one wanted to talk to you anyways, buddy. All right. So, I think that's all for questions. Okay, excellent. Okay, so moving on, right? Okay, bro, wait, it's not moving on. Not moving on. Guys, if you have a question, type it now. Well, don't type it. Just say you have a question. Roz, I'm going to be presenting you. And you'll have to unmute yourself. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
So I wanted to ask which of the academy styles do you think was the most effective?
At Jedi specifically, or just in general, like these days, what training style is?
At Jedi specifically.
At Jedi specifically, I would say at Jedi specifically, the Academy was the most effective. Also the most prevalent, but I would say it's the most effective in the sense because it had a clear structure and it didn't require outside trust. You knew what the student was being taught, so accountability was way more easier to do because you knew what the Jedi or what the student knew. You knew the material they had gone through. You knew what they had learned and how far they had learned. Areas they had trouble with, right? Because you're one of the instructor. If you were an instructor or a principal, then you had the clear knowledge. You saw them going through the material, and so to me, when I was just part of the solo thing, I just saw it in the academy in general that it had way more effect to have a clear laid out structure to have hands-on instructors that knew what the student knew, right? Everybody was on the same page. So when you had these other areas, such as outside training, where someone could go to a different website, like they could go to the Jedi Realist Academy, and they could go through the training there, as Master Angelus was saying, they could go through a different website, come back, take a test, and still be recognized at Jedi. But if you weren't familiar with that material and that website and who ran it and things like that, then automatically you're just regulating it to faith. And it was kind of the same problem with the master and apprentice training, or what was considered traditional training back then, and that was the one-on-one training. And again, because that always fell down to the mentor, the master, saying, yeah, this person's a Jedi Knight, and then they would take the quiz, and if they pass, they pass. That's fine. And back then, the tests that you took online weren't that complex. They weren't that difficult. So, like passing the Jedi equivalency exam back then was not as challenging as it may sound. Such as growth, right? We all had to start somewhere, and our original attempts weren't always the highest of bars. But when you have a clear structure and you know what a student went through, then automatically the training's a bit better. There's plenty of people who, even mentors, Jedi mentors, who get busy with life and then kind of skip a lesson, or the student gets busy and they can't, really apply the lessons that they've been learning, but they went through the time frame, so the master kind of gives them the thumbs up anyways, or they develop a friendship, and instead of standards of knowledge, standards of, no, you're a good person, I like you, so you pass, those kind of pitfalls definitely existed, and the academy style really kind of took away a lot of those and really held much clearer standards and a much better view of what you're supposed to know as a Jedi Knight. So at Jedi, really the academy was just heads above. Also because you got to get specific Jedi focusing on a specific topic, right? So you had Master Angelus, and he's presenting the Jedi Code, and in that he gets to focus on that. That's something he's really studied and really given his time to. And then you get like Anari and or Anara, sorry, doing like the Force, right, courses. And because that's where her focus is really at, and that's what she's really been focusing on, you get a much more in-depth and a much more knowledgeable Jedi that's really interested in teaching that field. So your courses, so you didn't have one Jedi getting burnt out, developing an entire academy course and having to kind of be the master of all trades and really knowing exactly everything about everything in the Jedi path. You could really, specify, and it's kind of like goes to those classifications, right? Guardian, healer, or whatever. But because the academy did that, you had Jedi, and you had this team effort that really helped solidify the subjects being taught and the way that the student was taught. And then they got to experience learning under different Jedi masters, which really made a difference. So yeah, definitely heads above all the other styles. Academy won out at Jedi for sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Moses. All right. Let's see. I need to catch up. Any other? Okay, fine. I'll ask now. Hannigan, is that a serious question? You may type your answer. Go ahead. I have to check the Q&A section anyways. Serious question, Hannigan? I'm going to answer it seriously. Okay, serious question from Hannigan. How much more fun is the review board than the questions or the Jedi? Okay, so the review board, if you don't know, is basically the offline at Jedi gatherings now. There's the offline groups such as Chicago Jedi, California Jedi, Capital Jedi. Is that the DC Jedi? I don't know. Maryland Jedi. All them kind of come together at the annual Jedi gathering, and knights that have passed and gone through that process form a review board for new knights or for new people who want to be knighted, right? And it's a review of knighthood, basically. And it's an in-person thing. You sit down, and then you face a panel of Jedi Knights. And then the Jedi equivalency exam was a series of questions, a lot of them mostly essay questions. And then I know for Jedi United, and I think it was the same for Jedi, you did that first, and then you did an online chat. You went into the chat room with the counselors or the educators, the instructors, what have you, and you answered some questions. Review board or equivalency exam, review board is way more fun. It's more fun because it's more interactive. And it's more interactive because you can do more things. You're not just answering or asking yes or no questions or kind of what are your thoughts on this, or when you give a scenario question, you can get up and you can get into it, and you can be like, okay, I want you to walk me through this, right? If someone has a question about a subject you teach, right? If you say, oh, I'm a Jedi Guardian, that's what I'm going to do as a Jedi Knight, is I'm going to advance the Jedi Guardian thing, and I'm going to start with teaching Taekwondo because that's what I do in real life, right? I'm a black belt, I'm an assistant instructor in Taekwondo, so that's where I'm going to start my practice. Well, in the review board, you get to be like, okay, I want you to show me this form, and this form. In that order, go. Let's see it. Let's see where you're going to start. And then, or you can be like, hey, so teach me the first form. Teach me the first lesson as a Jedi Guardian. Teach me. Let me see it. Let me get hands-on. And that really makes it more fun. It makes it more interactive. It also gives you a better idea as, is the person a good instructor? Is this person good under pressure? Because I don't care who you are. I don't care how long you've been Jedi Path. You sit on that review board. You sitting in that hot seat. You're gonna feel it. It's gonna, you're gonna get a little nervous. And it's a lot more telling, and it's a lot more fun than sitting at your computer screen just kind of answering questions like, what do you what are your thoughts on the Jedi Code? Oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, come on, man. No, review board's way more interesting. But let's see. Okay. And let's see. Yeah, Jedi questions in chat. My phone, but I'm not sure. All right, I'll try, Alexander. All right, you'll have to unmute yourself. Let's see. Let me. Okay, if you can do it, you can unmute yourself and go. Yeah, nothing. No words. It is silence. You are creating an aura of silence in this thing. Don't worry about it, Alexander. It is not a problem. It is not a problem. You can type it here, or if the Q&A thing. Either way, you can type it here, and I can just say it, such as Hannigan's choice, or you can do the Q&A. Q&A won't let us submit questions. Well, that's stupid. What is the point of it then? Okay, fine. Moving on. How about that? Let's move forward a tiny bit. I'm just going to show you the intro page, and we'll kind of maybe we'll look at the education page too. Maybe. Okay, we don't need to see that. All right, boom, and bam. Okay, so Jedi website introduction. These things, sadly, are lost to time. Well, Relin probably has them hidden somewhere, but message with video and audio, gone. It's not an actual like video file. It's an exec file. So I could never get it. Like I have that exec file saved, but I can't get it to work. I don't. Yeah. So no. Audio message might be floating around on my computer somewhere. But yeah, a lot of this stuff it was on Rellen's. It's on his server, so it's kind of on him if he ever wants to once again share his materials. Hopefully, he'll do that, and it'll be way more interactive than looking at the couple of JPEGs that I got floating around currently. But still, so what we have here is this was your introduction to Jedi, and this was the new symbol. I called it the AOL symbol, but everybody really enjoyed it. So from really 2002 to about 2005, Jedi was the hub of the Jedi community. It's where people came and checked in, and it wasn't, for a lot of people it was their home site, but it wasn't a home site for, like, it would probably be 50-50, right? And I mean, it was very popular. You're talking a lot of people coming in every day, at least 50 people every day. Wow, dude, in the entire day, yeah, you're probably looking around 50 to 100 people coming in every day, kind of being involved in one section or the other of Jedi and the forums, and really having a good time, really helping the Jedi path grow. I think a lot of the developments you see in today's Jedi community kind of stem from what was built at Jedi, and just structure-wise, administration-wise, and then content-wise as well. As I said before, a lot of people came to Jedi, and that's where they really got their hands dirty. Maybe they were floating around the community beforehand. Maybe they were part of another site before that. But it's a Jedi that really got them involved and really got them to be proactive in the community. And it lasted, and it kind of always kept this look in one form or another, right? And it kind of kept this look, and it lasted to 2005. I say that because about that time, that's when Rellen really had been stepping away a lot. Basically, he just burnt out. Politics still exists. Anybody in the Jedi community who's been part of the Jedi community for any amount of time, and I don't care if that's 10 years, a year, 6 months, doesn't really matter. You kind of see that there's still politics, and there's still, the rigors of administration and running a website, and as Jax was saying, even every leader of every group knows that they have to kind of come in and still have to kick open a couple doors, shake things loose, just remind people, hey, don't slack off just because no one's yelling at you. You kind of got to be your own Jedi master, right? But that responsibility still kind of falls to anybody who runs any Jedi organization, whether it's a Facebook group or a website or a forum or what have you. And so eventually Rellen just kind of burnt out, was done. Serene was pretty much done. He was done before that, really. He was really, by 2002, he kind of just floated around, wasn't really involved anymore. Mithra was definitely gone. He left in 2001, completely shaking, washing his hands. He was done. So Rellen carried it, but you had people like Master Angelus. You had people like Aislinn, Kai Kwande. I think that's how you say his name. I'm not sure. I called him Kai Kwande, but he really ran a lot of things. He was a go-getter. A lot of the other Jedi, Brandel Valco, always had his hands in Jedi, but he always worked in the other project. As I said, it kind of split between Jedi and Jedi United, and these two groups kind of went separate ways and didn't really mingle for probably until 2003, going into 2004. They were kind of did their own thing, kind of like Jedi of the New Millennium and Temple of the Jedi Arts. there was the split, and people chose a side, and that's where they kind of stayed. But they would mingle around at other sites, right? So eventually, that kind of came together. A very few people, Brandel being one of them, was a member of both parties and kind of came together, and eventually the two groups, settled their differences, and it was just about, once again, following the Jedi path and making Jedi a great place. By 2005, though, with so many people, there was different councils held. Relin was out, so different leadership had come in, and there was a lot of changes in leadership, and nothing really could capture. In 2006, I was given administration control of Jedi and the forums. And my goal was to bring it back to original, like 2002. But I was way strict with it. I had rules, regulations, and if you didn't follow that, we weren't having none of it, right? And so basically, a lot of members by that time, who, again, when you're the hub of the Jedi community, then you know of all these other sites. And I don't have that one, I don't think. Yeah, I didn't get that picture. I would have showed there was a link page to it, which shows all the different Jedi sites that existed at the time. And when you're the hub, all these different people that belong to these different groups come together, and so you learn of different groups that maybe you want to be a part of, maybe you want to dedicate your time to. So by 2006, people basically were like, I'm going to dedicate my time to this other group, or I'm going to do this. Jedi Academy at the time, basically Jedi, when I took over, we separated, in a sense. They weren't the Jedi Academy. I mean, they were in name and such, but we were like, no, you guys are doing your own thing. You guys have your own structure. You guys have your own, administration team. You guys continue to do what you do. We'll continue to support you, but we're not going to say that you're our academy per se. Eventually, that split would be one of the things that helped them move on to other. Going through all the struggles, as Jax mentioned, website domains and domain names and changes and things like that, and eventually becoming what they are today, still going strong. But by 2006 and definitely 2007, memberships just basically all went their own way. A lot of people went to Temple of the Jedi Force, or Temple of the Jedi Order, actually. They went to Temple of the Jedi Order, around that time, and then a couple people tried to merger with Jedi Temple and Jedi United. That didn't really work out, and that just left a lot of veteran members done. So both websites lost out there. So by 2006, a lot of this was kind of dying out, and not really able to recapture its glory. And because people wanted to invest in their own projects. And I think that's really what Jedi was trying to do all along. I mean, Relin had the goal of doing that all under one roof, right? If you had an idea of building an academy, he wanted to support that under Jedi, with the Jedi name, and kind of keep it all under one roof, and with one symbol. Kind of like unity was the key, really was in his mind, and he really wanted to stress that. But when the administration, when I took over, and our council and our administration was putting in strict codes of conduct and rules and forum behavior policies and things like that, it created an opening for people to be like, well, I want to start a project, but I don't want to do it here. I think I just want to do it myself. And so a lot of people went off and kind of found a place where they could do their own, they could do their project and move forward in their way of the Jedi, right? To continue to explore and express the Jedi path in their way, in the way that they felt was most beneficial. Over the years, you're talking this gap of 2002 to 2005, and there's a lot of events. There's like different councils that took place and different elections and kind of people who took over. But it really was just an example. Really, you can take that entire time as an example of what it was that inspired people, and that was community. The ability to go to a place, no matter where you were originally from or kind of what website you dedicated most of your time to, you could come to a place, you could share your Jedi, and if you did have an idea, it would be listened to, and you might even get the resources to help make it come into a reality. Now, it was always on you to make it, right? You had to put in the work, you had to put in the time, but you were given the opportunity and the chance to make it rather than just kind of doing it on your own. And also the benefit to that, and why a lot of people liked it, a lot of people came to Jedi at the time, was because then you did fall under that banner. So you didn't have to worry about membership or kind of like selling what your project's about, or trying to put up links and posts across the entirety of the Jedi community. You got to do it at one place, and people would get involved. If people were interested, they'd come, and they'd be a part of it. So it really was that hub where just people came and were a part of something. But like all things, I know it was meant, Rellen's intention was it was meant to be a lasting thing, something that kind of grew. But I think when you have something like that, it happens like Jedi, right? No matter the way the leadership went towards the end, you were already seeing people kind of peeling off and creating their own things. They came, they learned to be a knight, they learned what it meant to be a Jedi and what it meant to be a Jedi in the community as well as offline. And then they were like, yes, they were inspired, and they're like, I want to do this, I want to create something. And so then they went forth and they did that. But that means that their time and their effort and stuff has to go to that project, and it has to go to that. Especially, again, if they're creating a group, you have the responsibility to manage that group and be a part of it. So it was certainly a great experience for those that were there, but I don't think it's anything that's technically outside the realm of what can be done today. And actually, there are some places very similar to that, where you're inspired to share your brand of Jedi, and then you're inspired not to do it under that particular banner, but to kind of go out and make your own project and make your own way as a Jedi and kind of offer it to the rest of the community. If there's that Jedi lesson or history lesson or moral of the story, it just comes down to administration, and it comes down to the one thing I always say, be a Jedi, right? A lot of the leadership, no matter what time frame you point to, when you have councils and things like that, it comes down to, does that leadership act like a Jedi? If you have 5 yeses and 7 nos, you're going to have a tough time of it, right? So it's the same thing with any online organization where you really have kind of an issue of accountability and standards. So that plagued them leadership-wise, but not enough. I mean, you wouldn't know. Yeah, that kind of spilled over onto the forums at times, but again, as a lot of people know, if you look at places like Jedi Church, I mean, politics and drama, when that spills over, it kind of keeps the activity going. I'm not going to say nothing about the quality, but it certainly keeps the activity going. It certainly keeps people engaged, and so that definitely happened at Jedi for a period of time. But the benefit always outweighed the good and the fun and the resources and the good discussions, right? Always outweighed kind of the politics and dramas that went on up until it just eventually closed its doors, in a sense. I mean, you can actually go to Yuku. I might actually have that. You can go to Yuku and you can still check out the forums. The forums are still up. EasyBoard in 2008 went through crashes, was a lot of lost material, but they got bought out by Yuku, which was a similar structure. And I have a lot of links, man. Anyway, so yeah, they bought them out, and so some forms, only some that were still active at the time, were transferred over, and so not all Jedi forms were lost. Good portion of them, definitely I'd say probably like 200 Jedi forms were lost, but a good number. Oh, no, that's not it. That's not it. A good number were lost. Come on, man. I know I have it around here somewhere. So, I don't know. If you have questions, type them in. I'm going to see if I can find it. If you have questions or things, and type in the chat box, raise your hand, or type out the question. Whatever works for you. There it is. Okay, see? And then I found it. Well, you can still type out your questions anyways. Share. Okay. So, and then a lot of the little pictures don't work anymore because they're hosted on Relland's thing. But Jedi is available. There it is. thejediorg.youku.com, and you can still jump into it, and you can still say hello, and you can chat there if you want. I mean, not really because no one's there, but you can say things. One of the problems is actually here, and I think it's actually both of these, is what happened with EasyBoard. When they crashed in 2008, and a lot of the threads were lost, and a lot of the things were lost, they brought it back up, but they did so in a way that some forums were corrupted. So if you moved any topics into them, it would tell you all the post counts and everything like that, but then they wouldn't be there. And I'm just going to highlight this right here. See, this was Jedi's idea back in the day, right? Deleting is prohibited. Everything was just kind of moved around, cleaned up. Again, banning, deleting, all that kind of stuff was not the first go-to. But yeah, so you can check it out. You can run through it. You can check out old topics and discussions. Heck, revive some back from the dead if you want to. Right? You can go here and you can go down and no, it's cleaned up. So I guess you can't really bring that much. Oh, we got a MJ Knights over here. Wonder who that might be. But yeah, so you can go check that out, have some fun, scoping through some old things, from some topics from Hannigan 2, because he had to have a lot of backup screen names, didn't you, Hannigan? So check it out, have some fun. That basically wraps that up. I've been talking for way too long, rambling way too much. So questions or thoughts or whatever, you're allowed to talk. You can do that. Q&A first. Q&A? No Q&As. Wait, Q&A. There is one. This is a comment, not a question. All right, well, I still have to select it. I have to read it. And that's just how the program works. Okay, so this is a comment from Cayenne. Not a question. I think that that tendency to strike out on one's own is what is so great about the growing trend towards offline chapters. I think it creates the space needed for that kind of growth without fracturing the community. Absolutely. Online was always kind of going to be that way. My argument for offline, focus back then, right, in 2002 and stuff, was the pushing it. It was going to happen organically and naturally anytime. And now we're getting to that, and I think now we're also seeing people being Jedi in the sense of having patience and looking far into the future, not thinking about like, oh yeah, in 2 months I should be a Jedi Knight, right? No, it's what am I going to be doing? What is my organization going to be doing in 10 years, right? How can we evolve and how can we get to that place? And there's a much more longer view now in the community in general, and the Jedi themselves in general. and that establishes that thing that they can work offline and build chapters and kind of get involved with existing chapters and still build projects, right? And still do things and hold classes and kind of share their knowledge in a group setting. And absolutely, I agree. It allows for individual growth and the ability to build things without and then still be a part of stuff. I think we're gravitating more as well into that unity through community idea where, Chicago Jedi and California Jedi and Capital Jedi aren't just fighting each other or tribes or warring with one another or trying to one up another or trying to be like our group's better than your group, your standards are crap, our standards are better, our training's better. Like there's none of that, right? It is an embracing, and it's the offline gatherings, the whole knighting, the review board is a recognition. A Chicago knight comes out to California, all rights and privileges and teaching privileges and all that extend out to California because we recognize that Jedi as a whole, right? We have a core, and if we all follow that core, then it doesn't matter what group or whatever that you claim, that doesn't matter. What matters is the key word, Jedi. Are you a Jedi? Yes. All right, excellent. Are you a Jedi Knight? Excellent. Okay, great. And all that other stuff is just kind of to help build a community, and that's what we're doing rather than trying to build up a personal ego or a personal legacy or trying to leave some website that's going to last for 10 years. Like none of that matters, right? So I think that's definitely where the community has gravitated towards. So definitely a good thing. And yay, offline chapters. If you're watching, find yourself an offline chapter. There's groups out there. There's Facebook groups out there. You can find them. Go get it done. Let's see. Any raised hands in this garbled mess of people talking to each other during the show? Jackie Meyer, Jax. Best to get to know your local Jedi, so go meet them. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Cayenne's watching it not through Google Hangouts, I don't think, or she's watching it a different way. That's why her Q&A works. I don't know. I've been doing this 8 weeks. I haven't figured it out. I should have figured it out, but I don't know all the ins and outs of how to get this working, which I think we see in this show alone, let alone all the other ones, which are pretty fun, I suppose, is a way. Yeah, and that's, the essence, to wrap up, right? If no one's, there's no one really with their hand raised with anything, but to echo what Jack said, is this just a good way to see, these classes are just a good way to see where we started from, right? And kind of what inspired us and what we went through, and kind of like the things that we used and a little bit of the struggles that we went through. And you can see where we were to where we are now. And there is a growth. It's probably slower than probably some people realize. Probably there might be some people who thought we were maybe way ahead or way further, but it's a slow growth, but you can see it. It's tangible. You can see that we have come far, and at the same time, we do keep a lot of those things that worked, that were successful, still active today. They last through the ages, right? It's the kind of how things work. If something works, if it's beneficial, right? If you can use it, then it's going to last, and that's what's happened in the Jedi community. And it will continue to happen, even today. So if you're ever faced with something in the community you don't like or you really disagree with, just remember that, we've all faced that. Every single Jedi who's been here for any significant amount of time has faced these things and probably more than once, and has overcome them in the sense that those things will drop off. People aren't stupid, right? Can seem that way at times, but they're not. They will see through that stuff, and especially Jedi, where we focus on knowledge and overcoming ignorance and really looking at things objectively and holding people responsible, having accountability. These things are going to basically chop off the unnecessary, and it's going to get rid of those people who are here for the wrong reasons. Yes, it might take time, absolutely. But if you stick with it and you continue to push for good and beneficial things in the path, then it's going to happen. And I think that's what our history teaches us. It's what we see now, and it's really kind of giving us that direction and giving us that long view to continue to build the foundation so that in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 200 years, what we have is something that's a lot different, but certainly something that we would be proud to have said, yeah, I helped build that. I helped build that foundation. So absolutely, man. Go Jedi community. Oh, we got a hand up. Really? After my spiel? Killing me, man. Killing me. All right. Let me see if I find you. I'm going to present you. I'm presenting, and you can take yourself off the mute button.
Just out of curiosity, what motivated you to do this series? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I was putting together. It was actually a bunch of issues with groups on Facebook that were going through 1999 era Jedi problems, and I was talking with someone, and I was asked, Opie, why don't you do something, as if I could fix the community, which very flattering, But so I was like, well,
I'm Brandel Hannigan.
Yeah. Come on, Hannigan. How do you not? Oh, right. He probably never met you.
Well, he doesn't know my actual name, probably. I only banned him under Brandel.
Oh, right. Well, fair enough. Yeah. So it was basically that. I mean, I don't feel like I have, like, I'm not one of those people or one of those Jedi that teaches like the Force and Guardian stuff and all this stuff. So one of the things that I can offer, and one of the things that I can do, is that I happen to save all this stuff. I have your site saved, by the way. I don't know if it's still up, like, live, but I have that whole Jedi Way site, or Jedi Order site saved.
It was both at one time or another.
Yeah, so that's saved, just so you know, it's somewhere.
Actually,
yeah, I figured.
For the record, Jonathan Reeland, he does have all this stuff still. I talked to him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I figured it just redirects like if you use any of the domain names or try to use any of the links, it just redirects to his whatever he's has up now.
Yeah, he doesn't have any of it online. It's what he's
right.
got.
I figure it's all just chilling on his server, Yeah. But yeah, it was basically history repeating itself, and me being like, well, if people are interested, they can know that we've kind of gone through this, and this is how we dealt with it, and now look at where we are. Like if you focus on that, right? If you focus on all those things, those negative aspects, then you kind of fall into that pit. And a lot of good people and a lot of good Jedi left because that's what the focus was on. Was the politics and the fights and the little tribal wars and stuff that we had going on between all our nifty little groups, but now every Jedi who's lasted beyond that, it smiles about that stuff. I mean, it was horrible going through it, but you smile about that stuff now, and you realize how, like, I know for myself particular, like how childish a lot of the stuff I was, and how silly I was, especially when I was like holding titles like Jedi Master and Jedi Knight. I mean, and yeah, I just felt like, hey, people can learn from this, and they can realize that it gets better. Just focus on being a Jedi. That's what we did, and we survived. And other people who didn't, yeah, they're not around. Not to say that all people who left did so in a negative way. They had other passions, right? Not everybody, everybody has their own thing that they're pursuing in life, but certainly if you, the Qui-Gon quote, your focus determines your reality, and so that was the reasoning and kind of come about of this thing. And to have all this stuff just lying around, it was better just, hey, look, someone use it.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry for dragging it out longer. I know you're trying.
No, it's fine. Let all the YouTube people complain. It's all right. Hey, quick question. Wow, now I'll ask you. I'll ask you.
Hey, man, what?
I was just gonna say, gatherings in Indiana, dude. You can drive down to that.
I work 14-hour days, man. I literally got up after 2 hours of sleep to be here.
Get a weekend, man. All right, fair enough.
I work Mondays through Saturdays, 14-hour days. I drive a truck for a living, but I've been trying to keep track of when they are. They're always like a couple hours away, and
Yeah. Maybe one of these times we'll get it, and you can just like stop in and like sign a book or something.
sign a book.
Why not, man? Sign a T-shirt. Maybe a lightsaber hilt. You know, sign it right there on the blade.
Not sure why anybody would want my signature, but yeah.
Come on, Brandel Valco. Come on, man.
Doesn't hold as much weight as Opie McLeod.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. All right, you're going off now. Thank you for the question.
Thanks for the answer.
All right. So, anybody else want to drag this out even longer? Anybody? We're having a good time. Just for all of you here, if you do want to stick around, even when we go off air, you can stick around. Everybody gets unmuted, and everybody can chit-chat. I probably should have done that when I was messing around with Brando and just waited. Oh, well. You get to see it on YouTube. Congrats. It's our last show anyways. What are you going to do? Stop watching? Nah, can't, because we're done. Actually, we're technically not done. You can watch for Jedi Roundtable that's coming, which is kind of like this. It'll probably be at a different time. We haven't really worked that out, but it'll be like this, and then we'll just have a topic, and then every Jedi will get to get their 2 cents on the topic, and we'll kind of have like a back and forth on topic like Jedi Code, yay or nay, favorite version, why not, blah blah blah. Jedi Roundtable, look for it. Also, classes might come up, hosted not by me, so new people, excellent. So, you know, if you're interested, keep tuned in. All right, I'm out of here.